Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to Handling Objections. This is Objection Handling 101. I'm putting the breakout sessions in the meeting chat. If you are streaming on our YouTube platform and you'd like this, just send an email to bill@rogbeyond.com. That's bill@rogbeyond.com, and I'd be happy to send you the breakout sessions that we have for today. So let's go ahead and get started. So one of the things I'm going to tell you guys about this and handling objections and whatever else is this is one of the trainings that I would tell people. I run this training about twice a year. Take it every time I run it, because the better you get at objection handling, the better you will be in every part of your real estate career, and in fact, probably every part of your life. One of the secrets to overcoming objections isn't trying to memorize a bunch of scripts. And trust you me, in the next couple of weeks as we're doing this, I'm going to give you, I believe next week I have 20 scripts for you as part of that training, and we're going to work on that. But it's not about memorizing the scripts. It's being able to relate to where a person is in their feeling for whatever that objection is, okay? Understanding whether it's a real objection, whether it's a blow-off, whatever that is, or something they just flat out just don't understand. But the other important thing, and if you take anything from these next couple of weeks, and again, just to go through this week, we're going to run through just talking about objections. Next week, we're going to actually have 20 objections and how to handle them that we're going to run through. And we're going to work on that Monday and Tuesday, of course, in our script mastery class. The following week, which is the third week of this, is the one you really don't want to miss. I know we're getting close to Christmas, and that will be our last training of the year. But that one is the pricing conversation, because one of the big issues that I see agents run into, it's the biggest issue I see agents run into, is they'll go in and fly through their listing appointment. The people are like, yeah, I want to list with you. And then they want to list it for $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 more than the property's worth. Well, yes, you got a listing, but it's like getting a brand new BMW with a giant dent in the side of it. Because let's face it, especially in the market that we're in right now, all it is going to be is a headache. Yeah, you've got your name out there. Yeah, you've got your face out there. Yeah, it's all the good stuff with that. But you're not going to sell a house for $40,000, $50,000 over. And we're going to teach you, again, 2 weeks from today, how to make it so you never walk out of a listing appointment with a listing that's overpriced ever again. And it's simple, and you're going to love it. So make sure you're here for that. So let's go back to today. And again, objection handling is this is Objection Handling Success is the name of this series, 101, Handling Objections. So let's get started. So the first thing is to understand objections. What is an objection? The art of objection handling lies in uncovering the real concern beneath the objection and addressing it in such a way that the sellers are once again focused squarely on their original commitment, which is why they're selling their home. Daryl Davis said that. For you guys, I have Daryl Davis piping in live on Wednesdays at noon with his trainings each week, joining us in the conference room. So I would encourage you to come do that. One of the things I will tell you that always works, no matter what the situation, is getting a person to focus on what it is they're committed to. See, it says the original commitment, okay? So, well, we don't know that we want to list our house, right now. Okay, well, Mr. Seller, you told me that you wanted to be moved in so that you could have a Super Bowl party in your new house. You do understand that the Super Bowl at this point is about about 8, 9 weeks away. That doesn't give us a lot of time to get your house on the market, properly marketed, get it under contract, and find you a new house. we really have to step up our game and get this going immediately. Now, what do I have them thinking about? I don't have them thinking about, oh, my house is cluttered. Oh, I have to clean it up. Oh, I want to paint this room first. I don't have him thinking about that. I have him thinking about his Super Bowl party. That's what I want him thinking about. Whenever you are running into an objection situation, if you can get the person back to thinking about what it is they're committed to, guess what? You're in a good place. So if you master handling objections, you will close 4 out of 5 listing appointments. I have a agent that I had in New Jersey. I started working with him in 2017. He took my the classes that hopefully you guys, if you have not taken, will take very soon, which is our powerful listing conversations classes. And since 2017, he has not gone to a listing appointment where he hasn't walked out with the listing. He's at 100%. Reason is he's learned how to, he cherry picks a little bit, I'm not going to lie. And he's amazing at building relationships with people before he goes out, which is part of that secret. But one of the other biggest secrets is he knows how to present himself, and he knows how to overcome objections. And he learned that in these trainings. And yes, his name is Josh Allen, not the quarterback. All right. So I'm going to give you the 10 commandments. And I don't have a chisel or a rock or anything signed by God, but these are the 10 commandments of objection handling. Number 1, never take objections personally. You know, I see people that are afraid to prospect. They're afraid to pick up the phone and they're afraid to call because they're afraid somebody's going to have an objection or somebody's going to say, oh, I hate realtors or you know, take a swing at them, kind of, you know, figuratively, you know, take a swipe at them, or, you know, and they're going to take it personally. Oh, I didn't know what to say and I was stupid. Stop taking any objections personally. When a potential listing states an objection, it's normally not aimed at you, but a lot of times it's aimed at the real estate industry as a whole. If you take an objection for sale by owner, I hate realtors. Okay, why do you hate realtors? It has nothing to do with me. It has the fact that you had a bad experience with a bad realtor, or your expired listing, same thing. All realtors are lazy and they get the listing and then they don't do anything. Well, wait a minute. And again, here's a great way to get over that. Using a story. And again, this is what we want to do. We want to tell stories. We want to have anecdotes. You know, Mr. Seller, I understand that you had a bad experience, or you're always called Mr. Expired. Mr. Expired, I'm sorry you had a bad experience with, you know, your last real estate agent. And I understand that that has soured you to our industry. But let me ask you a question. Have you ever had dinner at a restaurant and had a bad meal? Yes. Did you go back to that restaurant? No, I'd never go back to that restaurant. No, I completely understand. I wouldn't either when I've had a bad meal at a restaurant. But let me ask you, did you stop going to all restaurants? Well, no, I still have my favorite restaurant and this restaurant and that restaurant. It's the same thing with realtors, don't you see? There are good realtors, there are average realtors, there are bad realtors. It sounds like you had a bad realtor and that has soured your experience. But understand, just like restaurants, good, average, and bad, right now you're speaking to one of Tampa Bay's best realtors, and it's a completely different experience, just like restaurant experiences. Boom, done. That takes care of that every time, all the way around. So just understand it's not aimed at you. It's usually aimed at somebody else, and there are ways of overcoming it. Number 2, handling objections is simply changing someone's perspective. In the seller's box, it's not possible. This can't be done. What they have to understand is that realtors think outside the box. And we shouldn't even say we think outside the box. We have ideas outside of the box of this individual that will get houses sold. You know what? Nobody wants to buy my house here because nobody wants to move down the street anymore in Florida. No, well, guess what? I have a network of 100,000 social media followers in cold weather states that, trust me, on a day like today, are thinking to themselves, why do I live in Chicago, New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, wherever? Maybe I want to live in Florida. I have ways that are outside of that. And you need to be able to think outside the box and understand that you don't know what you don't know. So return the focus. Again, you hear this repeating theme. Return the focus to what it is they're committed to, and you'll handle their concern or their objection based on what they're committed to. Number 3, look at objections as an opportunity to improve your skills. It's what I love Fridays. If you have never attended one of our morning grinds on a Friday, you're missing out. This is what we do. One of the parts of what we do on our Friday calls. Bill, I got hit with an objection this week. Okay, and I didn't know what to say. Okay, what was the objection? Agent tells the group what the objection is. And not just me, but everybody in the room says, you know, I dealt with that once, and here's the best thing I found to say. And that's the best thing I found to say. It is such a time of growth. And I promise you to look at objections that way. If you get tricked by one, don't hang your head. I should have known that, whatever. Come to our Friday, bring it in with you, and we'll make sure you never lose to that objection again. Guess what? You think it's only going to happen to you once? Probably happen to you a bunch of times. Doesn't matter. Keep doing it. It's a power numbers game. And you're going to get some listings right in the middle of this, but the ones where you get hit with it, guess what? We're going to make it so you never get hit with them again. You're going to get better, stronger, better, stronger. And that's what objection handling is all about. I wish I could tell you I'm going to teach you this class today and maybe next week's too, and you're going to be an all-star at objections. You're not. You're going to know what to do, but it takes time and practice, time and practice, time and practice, and commitment to being an expert at overcoming objections. And you will look at them as an opportunity if you follow this process. Remember to be truly present in the conversation and not worried about what the next objection is or how you will handle it. You know, I teach you guys to follow acronyms to keep you on track with your conversations. If you're in a listing appointment, what do I teach you? REAL, right? What's REAL? Very quickly, for anybody that hasn't taken my powerful listing conversations. Number 1 step is to build rapport. Number 2 step, engage. Find out what the person's committed to, get to know them a little better. Advise. Advise comes in 3 steps. Advise them of who you are and your company. Advise them of your marketing plan. And then advise them of the correct price for the home. And L, of course, is what? The easiest one, list. What I don't want you doing is sitting there and engage, and somebody's asking you these questions or throwing something at you, or maybe your marketing plan, they're asking you, you know, these questions, and you're like, oh, I really got to get to the next day, which is advise them on the price. Don't think a step ahead. Stay in the moment. Be present, and don't worry about what comes next. Remember, and this is a big thing to remember, everybody's afraid of objections. Oh, it's mano a mano, you're standing toe to toe like a prize fighter. No, objection handling should never be confrontational. Remember what your role is. You're not a salesperson. You are a coach. You're an advisor, and you're coaching them. You're teaching them. You're educating them. Yes, don't look at it as an objection. Look at it as a question. No matter how they phrase it, they've asked you a question. Answer the question in a way that shows them listing their house now is the best, if it is. Listing their house now, getting on the market is their best decision. Coach them. Number 4, take your time handling objections. Everybody wants to rush through them because we don't like them. So let's get through it quick and let me get back to my second day. I'm going to advise them on my marketing plan, and I can't wait to talk about my social media plan or my, whatever it is. Don't rush your answer. Take your time. Make sure they have full understanding of what you're trying to explain to them, and create a dialogue and thoughtfully answer their questions and concerns. This is game-changing. Commandment 4 is game-changing, because we all, especially when we first start in this business, are nervous. And when we're nervous, what do? We rush and we try to blow off and blow over and get back to our agenda that we're more comfortable with. Number 5, do everything you can to handle objections at the end. In every conversation, somebody is in control of it. That person needs to be you. A presentation may start with a person saying they're not signing a listing agreement today. Well, we're not signing anything today. You guys ever been to one of those? I know I certainly have. You know what? I don't remember a time where somebody started with that where I haven't left with a signed agreement. And guys, I teach. Those who can do, that's you guys. Those who can't teach, that's me. I've never walked out of one without one. It's a defense mechanism, and what it does, and if you do this right, I'm not signing anything today. Hey, you know what? I don't expect you to. I just want you to, listen to everything I have, take your time, make an informed decision, and when you're ready. What did I just do? I took all the pressure off that person now. Oh, I'm not going to get pressured at the end. He said to me, he's not going to pressure me. What does that do? Makes them listen more intently. They're not sitting there the whole time trying to come up with ways that they're going to have objections so they don't have to sign, and they're going to be way more likely to sign. So you can say something like, okay, let me tell you a little bit more about myself since I'm here anyway. Or like I said, the other thing I like to do is to say, I wouldn't expect you to. I just want you to hear me out and, make a decision in your own time when you're ready. Because again, most of the time, if you do that, you'll leave with the listing. Be clear and focused and committed to what they're committed to. Again, that engaged part when you're in a listing conversation about what you're doing there is finding out what it is they want to do. I would like to be moved into my new house so I can host a Super Bowl party. Okay, it's December 1st or December 2nd. I don't have a lot of time. So if I tell that to the realtor, they need to be working with that, right? That they know what I'm committed to. That's what I want to do. And they can make a plan that's going to get me in that new house by hopefully a couple of days before the Super Bowl so I get moved in and set up for my party. Number 6, the better your presentation, the fewer objections you will get. The best compliment that I get, and through the years, more and more, I get it now more and more, when I do interviews with agents. And when I get to the end, I always say, do you have any questions? And I've had people say, I came in with 3 written because I was always told I need to ask questions when I'm on an interview, but you've answered them all. That's the best compliment I can get. And what I tell people when they say that to me is I didn't start that way. When I first got in this business, probably people had 25 questions. But here's the thing. If you have a listing appointment and somebody asks you a question, you go to your next listing appointment and they ask the same question, what does that tell you? Something's missing in your presentation. So remember, even write down, you want to do it nonchalantly because you don't want people thinking you're writing whatever, but as soon as you're done, write down whatever questions they had and go back and say, is this something that's missing in my presentation? And if you do that and you hone your presentation, hone it and hone it and hone it, the better it is. Again, the fewer objections you'll get, you'll be more powerful. And as it says here, you want to be, but it'll make you more powerful anyway, because what we want to be is more powerful. We want to be prepared, confident, passionate, and most importantly, and I can't teach this final part, but it's huge, truly care about your client. What are their needs? What are they trying to accomplish? And what can I do to move heaven and earth to get that guy moved before the Super Bowl? And as I'm doing all this, I need to stay present in the conversation, not ahead, not behind, but present. I've told this story before, but I had a vice president I worked for when I worked for a large healthcare company. And one of the things that she was amazing at, I asked for about 20 minutes of her time. We sat down, and I wasn't like asking to, take over the company or anything crazy. I just had some stuff I wanted to go over with her. She closed her tablet, she closed her computer, she turned her phone off, and her eyes were so focused on me for those 20 minutes. There was nothing else in the world that was important to her in those 20 minutes that we had than just listening and really staying present in the conversation with me. I remember that now. That was probably 2011 or 12, right? So 12 years ago, maybe more. And I still remember that like it was yesterday because it was that powerful. I'm the worst, guys, and I know a lot of people are. I'll be sitting here doing the training. Oh, wait, I got a text. Who is it? Oh, wait, what's going on here? Oh, what's next on my to-do list? That's distracted. And again, I say that because I need to practice it too. We all need to get better at being present in the conversation and being focused on one. There was a real estate, I don't remember her name now, but she's a consultant. She's a real estate coach, owns a consulting company. And that was one of the things that she says. I have a video of her saying it somewhere, and she says, multitasking is a sin. not, not something to be proud of. And in real estate, it's so true because we get pulled in so many directions. Oh, wait a minute, the mortgage company's calling me. Wait, the title company needs something. Oh, my clients needed this. That takes you from being present in whatever conversation you're in there. Prioritize, do one thing at a time, do it well, and be present, and especially when you're talking to a client. Number 7, use analogies. Said this when we started. I can't say this enough. If I teach you some type of a quip or a script to overcome an objection, you're gonna have a tough time remembering it, and it's going to sound very scripted when it comes out of your mouth, especially if it's not your words, it's my words because it's one I wrote or somebody that I trust that I grabbed theirs wrote. Wasn't your words. When you tell stories, first of all, it resonates so much better. And it creates a picture in the client's mind. I like that I put that in this because that's what it does. And it gets the person to truly understand, as opposed to me. See, I think about for sale by owners, right? What do most realtors do when they go to a for sale by owner? They bang them with these facts that their broker or whoever put in their head. You do know that 8 out of 10 for sale by owners end up listing with a realtor and they waste 6 to 9 months. You do know that if you do sell for sale by owner, you're going to sell for 28% less than what. Do you want to talk about the other person just tuning out? Yeah, you're right all the way around, but they're not listening to you. So you tell a story instead. Let's go back to the pricing one. One of my favorite stories. A great agent in New Jersey that worked with for a long time. She and I used to do trainings. She'd do trainings. I do trainings. Back when my early days of getting started in training in this business. And this was something she said when somebody wants to price their house wrong. And again, she's a lady, so this is based for ladies. Men can do this any which way they want. Hey, I just won Circle of Excellence. So let me just tell you a story. I won Circle of Excellence Award. And I took for my last commission $500 to go buy a new dress for the banquet. I went to my favorite boutique. I knew they'd have something for me. Just before I got there, the absolute perfect dress for me was sitting there on the $500 rack, and somebody went and tried it on. They didn't like it, and they put it back. But when they put it back, they put it on the $600 rack. I went in, I scoured the $500 rack, and never found the right dress. Meanwhile, the people that were looking at the $600 rack looked at this $500 dress, realizing that it was inferior to the $600 dress, so they didn't even consider it. Meanwhile, I never looked at the $600 rack because I couldn't afford it, and therefore that dress just sat there and sat there and sat there. Do you understand? It's the same thing with a house, and you go through and you, of course, do the analogy of that. See how much that paints a picture in your mind and tells a story. And it's like, yeah, if I put my house as a $600,000 house and it's only worth $550, look, all those houses have a bonus room or an office or a pool or blah, blah, blah. Mine doesn't. How am I going to compete with them? Because my house really isn't worth that. It's worth the 550 or the 500. Using analogies is so powerful. And you just have to come up with what your analogies are going to be. I'm going to give you 20 of them next week, 20 ideas that you can use that, but I want you to use your own, right? That dress one doesn't work for me, okay? Because obviously I'm a guy. Now I can switch it and talk about I'm going to buy a suit, right? Or if I'm out with some of my golf buddies, I could say I was going to reward myself with a brand new driver. And I knew I could spend $600. But somebody tried it and they put it on the $800 with the $800 drivers. You can make the story whatever you want, and you can relate it to the people around there. One of the ones I teach is the one-line fishing technique. One of the things about that is, who would get more fish? A guy out there with one fishing pole or a commercial boat next to him with a net? And then you go, a realtor's like a commercial fishing boat because we have all these different marketing things and ideas and ways where we can bring people in. Whereas you're sitting out there with your little sign in the lunchroom at your work and in the hardware store and the grocery store down the thing with your flyer and your sign. It's just, but what if you are an agent in Oklahoma and there's no fishing, right? I don't think there's fishing in Oklahoma. It's a desert, right? Or Arizona, right? That story may not work for you, but you come and you just change what the things are to relate to the person that's in front of you. So use analogies. Can't say that strongly enough. Number 8, use subtle closes frequently. One of my favorite ones is we're sitting here, we're talking, and we're advising on the price. And maybe I'm feeling like I'm not sure whether they're going to commit or not. Hey, you know what? I just want to change the subject real quick. One of the things I was thinking is because you're on a corner lot, I was thinking we should put the yard sign on the corner there pointing out so people can see it from both streets. Guy says, oh, my wife and I were talking about that earlier. Yeah, we were saying it would be nice to have exposure for both of the streets going by. What do I know? They're thinking about, they may not, it's not 100%, but I got a pretty good shot they're going to close. They're going to sign. Whoa, you're talking about a sign. We haven't even decided we want to list the house yet. Now, what do I know? They're not ready. I've got more work to do. So use subtle closes like that throughout to gauge the temperature of where the person is. Number 9. This goes back to what we said before, but it's a little bit different. That's why I put it as a, and I need 10 commandments, so whatever. But objections occur because of ineffective communication. I said before that they occur because you might be leaving something out, right? And maybe you're just leaving something out of your conversation, and that's where the question comes to. Objections occur because of ineffective communication. What that means is you said it, but you didn't say it in a way that was clear. And it didn't say it in a way where the person understood it. Clarity, clarity, clarity. I say this again. Be confident. Be present. 2 huge things, whatever you're meeting with a client. Being confident and being present with them with a commitment to help them get what they want. I am sold out to get this person moved into their new house before the Super Bowl. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to move heaven and earth to get you there. And that if that person I'm sitting across feels that way, what are they going to do? They're going to list with me. Number 10, always assume the listing. The L in our REAL, we always say, assume the listing. Start filling the paperwork out without saying a word. After you've agreed to what you think you should be listed for, you start filling out the paperwork. Flow smoothly into the close. Don't make it 2 parts. Okay, you want to sign? Oh my God, that makes me cringe. Cringe. I do the same thing, by the way, when I do for any of you that have interviewed with me. I don't ask you, well, I was in with very dear friend of mine that I worked with for the last 5 years. We co-broke together. He did basically the broker stuff. So if you had a broker question or contract question, he did that. I did, operations and hiring and training and all the other stuff. But we were in an interview. We sat in together. And I went through my whole thing. And, he added in his stuff here and there about what he did and whatever. And we get to the end, and I'm just to slide over. We use paperwork in that firm. So you want to sign up? Oh, God, I cringed. They did. They joined. But it's just so awkward. And all of a sudden, I'm putting pressure on you. We're like, here's the pen. Here's the pen. You don't want to do that. Make it smooth. Make it easy. I need you to believe. It says think. I really need to change the word think in this PowerPoint to believe. Believe, based on what the person's committed to, it makes sense that they'll hire you to reach their goals. You better believe that because you know and have confidence in yourself, right? You know you can help them get moved there before the Super Bowl. The step needs to, and it should and needs to come naturally with no stopping to field objections. Well, do you have any questions? Wrong. Not in that situation. Do I ask that when I'm interviewing people? I do, but it's different. It's because I want to keep them talking, right? In this situation, I want to keep them talking up until it's time to list. When it's time to list, I want to keep them signing. And of course, I'll teach you some techniques. If there's a husband and a wife, you always go to we'll do this in powerful listing conversations, but a real quick recap. We always say, go to the person that you have the best rapport with first with the pen. Always ask the other person an unrelated question based on something they're interested in. So you're moving out, blah, blah, blah. Have you looked at the golf course there? I know you're an avid golfer. It's an amazing golf course. Oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Now you're talking, you're relaxed. The other person signs right away. And again, we'll talk about that in a separate training, but that's what you want to do. It should be natural with no objections. All right, so there are 10 commandments. Let's talk about some steps to avoiding objections, signing the listing agreement. Number one, make sure you agree on the sale price. Everybody puts, not everybody, average normal realtors, not great realtors like you guys, put pricing the house and signing the agreement in the same conversation. Absolutely not. Remember the REAL, the advise. Advise them on yourself and your company, number one. Number two, advise them on your marketing plan. Number three, advise them on the price of the house. Come to an agreement. Once you've come to an agreement, then you go to L, which is list. You can ask, again, some qualifying questions if you're having a problem there. Listen, you've heard my marketing plan, this, that, whatever. If we can agree to a price, are you ready to go ahead and hire me? Ask that ahead of time. You can do that. If they don't say yes, find out what's holding them back and handle that objection. Always do this, though, before you present price. That way, if you run into a pricing situation, you can deal with it. Number two, I just said this in the 10th commandment, but here we go. But simply fill out the listing agreement. So once I know you said, yep, $550,000, I'm writing that in on my listing agreement. If you feel awkward, say, oh, by the way, what was today's date? It's today the first or the second? Oh, it's the second? Okay, keep writing. Keep them involved. Silence is not golden. Continue to ask questions and keep them engaged, right? If you're sitting there talking, all of a sudden it's dead silent. They're like, oh my God, what the hell's happening, right? You don't want that. This is a great time to ask more about where they're looking to move. Use the golf course thing that I said. Use the, hey, you love the beach. Have you tried blah, blah, blah beach where you're moving? Number four, hand them a pen and direct them where to sign. Never, ever set the pen down on the table. There's something awkward and weird about it. I've done that in here in the classroom with people just to show them. And even in like a fake situation, it's awkward. Hand it to them. And again, as I said, always hand it to the person you have the best rapport with first. Once you've done that, ask the spouse a question. I kind of already went through this, but hey, you said you're an avid golfer. Have you tried Bel Air Country Club? Blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, it's a great spot. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, you're going to live 5 minutes from there. The other one, okay, that's all good. They sign away. As opposed to if I don't say anything, you're giving daggers across the table. Oh my God, you're signing the house that we've lived in for the last 30 years and raised our kids in. So always keep the other person engaged. Let's move on. What is an objection? There's different kinds of objections. Number one is a blow-off. A blow-off is used so they don't have to make a decision. If I use an objection, it's always a blow-off because I just don't feel like dealing with it right now. I'm not much of a procrastinator, I guess, except when somebody's trying to sell me something. But it's a blow-off so they don't have to make a decision right now. You need to either uncover the fact that it's a blow-off, which most of the time it's just a blow-off, and creating urgency is the way to around that. So listen, I know, Bill, you don't want to get involved in all this today, but you told me that you want to be moved by the Super Bowl. Well, the Super Bowl's, in 8 weeks, 9 weeks, whatever it is. We need to get moving on this. We don't have a lot of time to find you, get your house up, marketed, open houses, get an offer, get it through the lending, get it through, title and blah, blah, blah. And we have to find you the perfect house. Well, now I'm excited about my Super Bowl party. That blow-off goes away and I sign the agreement. If there is a real objection, uncover it. Conditions happen. Yes, thank you. We wanted to do this free market evaluation. And we're interested in listing our house and my husband will find out next Friday, or my wife will find out next Friday if she's being transferred to Atlanta for his new job. Okay. Well, guess what? That's real, right? Or it's a condition like this. We're trying to get an idea because we're planning on moving at the end of June, or let's move later. We're looking to move in September after my wife retires. That's a condition. That's real. What do you do in this situation? Accept it for what it is, but continue to follow up until the condition is gone. Did you get the job in Atlanta? Hey, you know what? It's June. You still retiring in September? Let's get your house on the market. We can work it so it's a September close right after you retire and get you moved. Okay. Third thing is an objection, a real objection. It's something that the other person believes to be real. Look at it like that. They believe it to be real. You need to understand what they believe to be real and then overcome it. I said this to you earlier as well, but if you keep getting the same objection, it's usually you're either doing something, and don't take that out of maybe something you're doing, not something you're not doing, but it could be something you're doing or not doing in your presentation. If you continually are getting blown off, you're probably not creating enough urgency. You need to create urgency. Go back to what they're committed to over and over and the timeline of it, when they need to move. Commission. Commission is all about confidence. And we're going to work on this on, I guess, on a Wednesday. I have a menu that you can hand people that will show them exactly what you charge in commission and the services they receive for whatever choice they pick. And I find that makes it's a menu of services. It stops it from being this, well, can we do this? Can we do, and trying to beat you down. Well, if you want 2.5 and not 3, I'm not going to be able to do this or this because that's what pays for the marketing for it. And then it becomes value for service. You need to believe in yourself and have confidence in your abilities. Ask, are you skipping a step? Are you rushing your presentation? Length of listing. It's another objection. I only want to list with you for a month. I only want to list with you for 3 months. It's better that you explain the process involved with selling through your marketing plan. Reiterate and make this part of your marketing plan that you have a 6-month marketing plan that works. A lot of times you get it sold in a month or 2. Sometimes it takes a little longer, and the reinforced marketing that you're paying for ensures that house does go under contract within those 6 months. Make 6 months sound like that's your marketing plan. So that's what you need. Price objection. Pre-validate your CMAs. What does that mean? Yeah, so these are the CMAs of the houses that are in your neighborhood that have sold over the last 6 months. This is part of my proprietary marketing strategy that if you guys use, is very powerful. I look at 3 different numbers. I look at how properties have sold, usually in the last 6 months, which is in this case. I look for houses that didn't sell, and I look for houses that are currently on the market. And that's how I come up with the price of your house. I also have this reviewed, and this is the validate. I also have this reviewed by my broker and just bounce it off of them, or somebody in my office has been pricing houses for 50 years, whatever you want to do. I always do this because now it's third party. It's not just me saying the price, but also explaining how the pricing works. Okay. So anything that's sold in the last 6 months that's comparable to yours, price per square foot in your neighborhood, that gives us a real number of what we know your house will sell for. When we look at houses that didn't sell, usually they were priced, unless there was something wrong with the house, you'll see that those were priced $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 over. They didn't sell. Why? Because they were priced too high. That's too high of a number. Houses that are on the market, they're our competition. If we see ones that are on the market that are priced like the ones that expired, chances are they too will expire. They're not going to sell. So they're not really competitors because we want to price our house correctly, which will be under theirs. If there are ones that are in that right range that match with those, they're going to be our competition. And we have a decision to make. Do we want to be the first one to sell? If so, we want to undercut them slightly. If we don't care, maybe we want to be second or third in price, but we need to be competitive with those and understand, as many as are in front of us, those ones will sell first. That's how you overcome price objections before they even hit you. Uncovering the real objection. When you get the blow off, you must uncover the real objection underneath. And I got 3 techniques. Number 1, the multiple choice technique. Wait a second, I'm not ready to sign right now. I need to give it some thought. You say, well, I appreciate that you want to give it some thought because this is an important decision. And I think if I were in your shoes, I'd want to think about any concerns I might have too. Just out of curiosity, what specific concerns do you want to think about? What are you going to give? I don't know. I just want to think about it. You're going to get that all the time. It's a blow off, right? But here we go. Well, is it something about the price we discussed, or maybe even the net? No, price is good. Was it something about the length of listing? No, that's fine. Okay, is there something about the company? Do you feel that we can't do the job? Well, I'm a little concerned that the marketing, blah, blah, blah. See, you feed each possible objection that they could have one at a time to the seller, and one of two things will happen. No. Yeah, I guess, yeah, let's go ahead and sign, because you got them thinking about it again. Or they come out with, no, I just don't feel confident because whatever. I don't feel confident in your abilities because of whatever. Gives you the chance to overcome that. How many should you feed them? You got to play that by the conversation. Again, be present in the conversation. You'll know when enough is enough. If it doesn't work, take it to the next level. Number 2, the key concerns technique. So basically, same thing again, but now you're going to tell them everything at once. I'm a little confused because based on what you told me about why you're selling, I really believe I can help you. If I didn't think I could help you, I wouldn't ask you to hire me. Listen, I've been doing this a long time. My batting average is pretty high, and I'd like to keep it that way. So I feel good about us. I know I can help you, but I know also something's holding you back. In my experience, when a seller is truly committed to selling, and I think you are, and we don't go forward, it's usually because of one of these 3 concerns. It might be about the price we're going to do. For example, you may not net enough to make the move work. It could be about the length of listing, that there's a concern making a commitment for the length of time we discussed. Or maybe it's something about me or my company. Perhaps you think there's a better company out there. You don't feel my company has the knowledge or experience to get the job done for you. If you had to pick one of these as being what you had to think about, which would it be? Sometimes that person will come out with a 4th one that you didn't even, where did that come from? But the fact is, it doesn't matter what they come out with. If they pick one, or if they pick something from left field, or they say, no, actually, no, it's none of those. I just, whatever. Any which way they do it, you can overcome. Now, neither of these work. All right? You're really in a pickle. Now's the time to throw the Hail Mary. Hail Mary works like this. It's what we call the Good Samaritan technique. Oh, just give me a couple weeks. We're going to think about it, and I'll call you. Listen, I'm going to tell you this, and I honestly believe it. Based on your situation, based on the fact that, you want to be at the Super Bowl, you have a Super Bowl party in 8-9 weeks, based on what's happening in the market, you need to hire someone to represent you and get you on the multiple listing service. Maybe I'm not the person to do it, but I'd rather see you at least go with a broker, any broker, than either try and sell it on your house on your own or wait. So I'm going to give you the names and numbers of a couple other brokers for you to talk to, because I'd rather see you hire an agent than try to get you to do this on your own. What you're doing here is you're showing the client that you care more about them than you do yourself. By the way, if you're going to use this technique, and I would have this in your back pocket because you never know when you might need it, I would have 2 brokers that you have a agreement with, that whenever this happens, and tell them, do the same thing, send them my way. And I would try to find somebody that's a little different than you. So if it was me, I would try to find a female agent that was maybe a little bit more nurturing than I am, a little different personality. But so you have an agreement that, hey, you know what, they're going to give you 25 or 35% of it because you referred it over, and vice versa when they do it to you. More often than not, though, if you have to use this technique, and again, this is a last resort, sometimes it's just about, and especially like I say, in my case, because I'll come out facts and getting it done and like a bulldog, but sometimes I don't think people realize that listen, I really genuinely do care about helping them and getting them where they want to be. And I work on that all the time. I'm not in front of a ton of clients because I teach most of the time, not whatever. But I think that by doing that, for me especially, it shows the clients I care more about them and them reaching their needs than I do about, hey, I just want to get a listing type thing or whatever. And because of that, this works. Wait a minute, Bill really does care. Oh, no, you know what? We do need to get on the market, and boom, they're signing. Once you're clear on what the true objective is, use a 5-step process to overcome the objection. And here it is. Number 1, you need to acknowledge it. One of the biggest mistakes that people make in all businesses is they blow off somebody's objection. It's ridiculous. Ever had somebody do that to you? It's dismissive. And you want to turn off your client, dismiss them. So acknowledge, let them know it's okay to feel that way, even if it's crazy. And trust me, I've seen some crazy ones. It's okay to feel that way. Make sure you take your time and give a longer, specific response of just saying, I know how you feel. Listen, I always teach feel, felt, found, right? I know how you feel. I know others that have felt that way. But what we found is by getting your property on the market, we're able to get it sold and get you moved on with your life and blah, blah, blah. That's feel, felt, found. You want to talk about knowing how they feel, but be specific about it. Tell a story, going back to what we talked about before, about a time that you or a client felt that way. Number two, ask questions. Make sure that you are clear about their concern, issue, or objection. Make sure they know you're clear about it, because that's a huge part for overcoming it. Ask them why they feel the way they feel. Use open-ended questions. Use clarifying questions with things that seem to be true. They agree on the price of the home, for example. Be 100% clear of what their objection is and make sure they know you're 100% clear. Number three, confirm. Confirm this is the only objection that needs to be handled. Well, okay, I understand. If I can answer for you, is this the only thing stopping us? If not, return and get all the objections. Don't try to handle the objections all at once. Just try to get them all out in the open so you have them. You always want to handle objections one at a time. Number four, handle their objection. Address their objection. Overcome it. Use a visual. Use an analogy. Tell a story about somebody else that had the same thing, or maybe when you did at some point, to handle their concern. And number five, always invite action consistent with what it is that they're committed to. That's one of my favorite lines. Find out if they have more questions, or hey, let's go ahead and get you on the market. Are you ready to list your home? All right, I want to say thank you to everybody on YouTube for joining us. We appreciate you coming on, and I'm going to